Alright, YouTube, what's good with y'all, man? We got a full breakdown tutorial of a low taper plus the beard work. Man, my boy got a nice grain of hair. It's gonna be a fire haircut. So first, I like to start off by trimming his hair down with a 1.5 guard. I used to use a 1 guard on people like this, but then you start showing patches in their hair, and then the hair is way too low. That was in my beginner phase when I didn't know how I wanted my haircuts. I used to cut everybody down with a 1 guard. But with someone with his grade of hair, you want to cut it down with a 1.5 guard to keep that thickness, and it doesn't look like he has a lot of patches in his hair. So their hair is kind of like thin. Once you cut it down to a 1 guard, it's very thin. Okay, here I'm gonna start off using my clipper closed, and I'm gonna make my first initial guideline. I used to make my guidelines with my trimmers, but I still do. But for the video, I'm gonna do it with my clipper, because I recommend for anybody that's watching this, that's a beginner or anything like that, you want to start with your clipper, because it's way easier to get that guideline out. Here I'm gonna start off with my first guideline, and I'm gonna use my clipper and open it. And I like to use mine and use them in a rainbow shape when I do my first initial guideline. It's just a look that I like to give, my haircuts. And then I use my clipper. Excuse me. Now I'm gonna use my clipper halfway to get that guideline out. And you want to take your time with your first guideline. Like that first guideline is like the step to make the haircut, be as great as you want it to be. That first step, just like with anything, that first step that you take is gonna always, you're gonna finish that. You're gonna give it that finished look, man. That first step is gonna give it that finished look. So anyways, here I have my 2 guard, and man, we're gonna start that fade down process. When I do my tapers, or really any haircut that I do now, I just fade down. I start off with the highest guard that I'm gonna use, and I fade down. I think on here I started off with it open. No, I started off with it closed, the 2 guard closed, and I just worked my way down. So right now we're just like, just notching at it with the corners. Use your corners, especially when you're doing the tapers. That was one of the biggest mess ups I used to have when I first started barbering, man. I didn't use my corners on my tapers, bro. If you do not use them corners, your tapers will not come out right, especially them low tapers. So here I'm using my 1.5 guard, and I'm just doing the same thing. I opened it, then I put it halfway, then I'm gonna close it, and I'm just gonna just go down slowly with the corners and just fade down, man. That can give you that perfect taper. And then as you're fading down, man, don't be scared of the process. Don't be scared of the process. That's another thing I always messed up in when I first started. Is being scared of the process. Because once you're at that half guard or even the 2 guard, man, it don't look right. You have dark spots, and you have all this. It look like a big mess when you're fading. Even when you just do the step by step fading, it's hard to trust that process. But when you cut hair, you have to trust the process. Something I learned in barber school as I was learning how to cut hair. You have to trust that process, and it's all gonna come together at the end. As you can see now, the fade is already coming together. It needs a little detail work and a little more corner touch ups, but it's all coming together. You gotta trust the process when you're fading. You can see right now, I'm all the way to the half guard. And I'm still using my corners. As you can see, I'm still using my corners. I do flick out, but it's not an exaggerated it's not an exaggerated flick. I just flick a little bit. As you can see right now, I got it closed. And as you can see, that taper is basically almost done. As you can see here, and I'm gonna use my corners, and I'm gonna just like Right now, I'm just detailing with them corners. It's like you barely touching it, but I promise it's gonna work. Here, I'm gonna go to my beard work. This is where I used to mess up as well. You see how his beard is kind of thin. The highest guard I think I used on here was a 1.5 guard. I used to try to use a 2 guard. I think I needed 2 guard on the beard, but you don't. You need just a little 1.5 guard. And here you want to be very tedious when you're fading. Right now I just faded. It's gonna be the same process as the top, but I'm not gonna use my 2 guard. See, as right here I have my half guard, and I have it open just to be safe. But then I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna close it, and I'm gonna just fade up. Basically the same thing as fading down, but you're just fading up. It's the same process. And you're going to use your corners. You definitely want to use your corners when you're doing a beard. Every time. And as you can see right here, I brought out my 1 guard, and I'm going to have it open. And we're going to do the same process, man. You just want to fade up. Fade up. Kind of like you just like, trying to just poke through the hair basically with them corners. Just want to use your corner work and just like do a slight flick. And yes, and just trust the process, man. That's all I'm gonna preach. Is just trust the process. With anything in life, man, just trust the process, and it's all gonna come together. Here I have my half guard, and I should have it closed right now, but this is me just. I would recommend opening it when you're doing it, but me, I closed it and we're just flicking out. And look at that beard. It's coming together. Then next, we're gonna use the clipper with no guard. And just flick at it. Same thing. Just flicking. Okay, now here we on the back taper, man. It's gonna be the exact same process as the low taper. You're gonna fade down with that 2 guard open and move your way down. As you can see here, I'm making my first initial guideline with the clipper closed. Just because it's easier to get it out that way, man. Then we're gonna come back in, we're gonna clean it up with our trimmers. And man, I'm trying my best to be consistent. I'm not trying to be one of the best barbers in the world, but I know I'm a pretty good barber. And I really love cutting hair, so I'm trying to be consistent with my content, man. I love watching the process. I love watching it, and I love doing the process. I love making these videos and then just sitting here watching them myself. I'll make a video and I'll sit here and just, before I go to sleep, I'll just look at it. Just look at the haircut, look at what I did to even do it. I just love haircutting in general. But anyway, so here I'm going to use, like I said, it's the same process. Use that clipper open and then make that first initial guideline. And we just remember that first initial guideline is the first step to a finished product, man. Until it's just the first step. I really don't know the analogy, but that I just know when that first initial guideline, man, it's what's gonna make your tapers stand out. That's all you need to know. That first initial guideline is gonna make your tapers stand out, and it's gonna make them. If that first initial guideline is messed up, then your whole taper is messed up, basically. That first initial guideline is that important. Make sure you just take your time with it and knock it out. Basically the same thing that you would do with the whole taper, man. Just not make sure everything, take your time with it. Just take your time with the haircut. There's no need to rush, especially if you're a beginner. Take your time, man. That was one thing that used to mess me up. Even in barber school, I'm sitting here trying to rush through the haircut because I see that they got people, in line. When I went to Texas, they had people that will be waiting for a haircut. But, bro, you're in barber school. So, take your time with the haircut. Take your time and learn the process. Love the process. That's one thing I regret not doing. When I was in barber school, I didn't really love the process. Like, the process was trash to me. Sometimes I skipped school. I just didn't like school in general. But now I regret, not going to school. We had barber battles. We had 3 barber battles while I was in school. I didn't attend none of them. I didn't enjoy the process. I didn't enjoy being in school. But now that I'm out of school, I wish I would have learned, as much as I can in school, because I had to teach myself. That had some help from a friend as well that taught me a little bit about barbering. But for the most part, though, I had to learn how to cut hair hands on just by myself because I didn't really attend much in school, man. So just love the process and love what you're going through. Everybody can't go through it. Everybody can't attend barber school. People are scared to do barber school. So I love the process. So, but here I'm on my two guard. Right now I have it closed. Now I have it closed and we're just gonna fade down the same process I did on the low tape. We're gonna fade down two guard, one and a half, one guard, then a point .5, and then we're gonna close. Then we're gonna use the clipper with the trimmer open and we're gonna detail. Same process, same process. It's like Fading down is like my favorite technique right now. I used to like the steps when I first started, but man, you would get so confused when you're doing the steps, and it was just too much for me. So I recommend any beginner or anything, just fade down. So as of right here, you can see I'm on my half guard, and I have it open, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna fade down. I necessarily don't use like too much of my corners because on the back of somebody's head, the back of somebody's head is bigger than the side of somebody's head, so you don't really need to use the corner until you really start to detail. I would say is when in the beginning of your fade down process, you don't really need to use the corners. It's gonna take you a longer time to get that fade done. So you can see like as a process, if you're a barber, you can see that this fade is already it's coming together, man. You just gotta, like I said, trust the process. As you can see, man, I'm gonna try to make my haircuts tutorials a little longer and a little detailed, so you can watch the full tutorial and the full like this whole back taper. I haven't cut off anything from it. Like this is real time, and this is me doing the haircut. I think I'm gonna make my tutorials longer. Like this video is gonna be about 24 minutes, and I think I'm gonna make them like this because when I used to watch videos, man, they used to speed up and sometimes cut some parts out and things like that, and I really couldn't learn as much as I wanted to learn when I was watching the videos. I loved the end product of their videos, but I couldn't learn as much as I wanted to learn. You know, it was just moving too fast, man. But you can see, man, the taper is already looking nice. Already, see, you have to just trust the process. As you can see right here, I should have on. Yeah, I got on my .5 guard, and we're just gonna notch at that line, notch at it, and watch how beautiful that taper comes. So as you can see here, it looks done, but it's not done. There's detail work that needs to be done, and there's still a line at the bottom. So right here, what I like to do is I like to, bring out my clipper, and I like to use it open. And you just notch at that guideline. Just notch at it. Like, you don't want to go too high though, man. You go too high, you basically gonna make a whole nother guideline. So make sure you stay at that guideline and then just notch on it. Especially with using your clipper like this, and just detail. And basically that line is out, but as you can see here, there's a dark spot in that middle that I just was not okay with. I'm never okay with just leaving something like that. Like, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my haircuts, and I wasn't okay with that. And I'm gonna use my .5 guard, and just gonna notch at that little dark spot that was there. And man, look at it, it's coming right out. And that fade is coming out beautiful. And as you can see, man, this is the finished back fade. Look at that. As long as you take your time with it and trust the process, this is what you get. It's a nice, beautiful fade. He has a nice grade of hair. Man, I was so happy with the way that fade came out. And here's the thing that brings everything together: that lineup. And in order to get a crispy lineup, it's all about that. To get that ass line that everybody want, it's a process to that as well. I didn't put it in this video, but I will in probably a few videos. I will start bringing down my lineup process. I start breaking that down and putting it into my videos. But man, look at that. Nice little. I don't like too much of an ass line, but it's a nice little ass line. And a nice crispy line up around the ear. When you're doing it around the ear, man, you don't, what they call it, like a pink. You don't want to show any pinkness, man, when you line up around that ear. Right there, that's a perfect ear lineup. Right there, you just want to use the corner of your trimmers and line up that ear just like that. And here with the C cup, man, you don't want to go too high on the C cup. You just want to start basically where I just started right there, and then I don't think I put in this video, but then you're gonna measure the other side. I use what they call a rhino comb. There's this guy named Morano who makes those combs, and I use those to match up the C cups to each side to make sure, before I push anything back on the C cups, I use that rhino comb. So right here, this wasn't even the finished product, but I don't think I pushed the other C cup in there. So, but I usually use a rhino comb to, you know. But as you can see, look at that, man. It's just beautiful. I don't know yet. And then we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side of the ear. You also, I use a Murano comb as well in the back, but I didn't include that in the video. Just didn't want to make the video too long. But I do use a Murano comb as well to measure the back as well to make sure everything's symmetrical. I love my haircuts to be symmetrical. You can see I'm still using the corner of that blade. Any beginner or anybody in general, you need to use the corner of your blade to get that right there, man. Look at that. It's just nice. I love looking at haircuts, man. And here, I was mad I didn't get like the full lineup process, but I do got a good bit to show you. Cause my when I was recording on the other side, it got like very blurry, and then my hand was in the way, so I wasn't able to, get the other side of the lineup and show you guys how to make your lineup symmetrical. I was very mad at myself, but I'm gonna fix that in the next video. But as you can see, man, that lineup is giving a nice little ass line. And you just want to use the corner of your blade also on the lineup. So you can see I'm taking my time and I'm using the corner of my blade. I used to use my whole blade when I was doing the lineup and wondering like just why so much hair be coming off, why my lineup coming off crooked. It's because you need to use that corner of your blade. The corner of your blade on each side. When you're going to the left side, use your left corner. When you're going to the right side, use the right corner of your blade. And I promise it's gonna help you so much in achieving that bossy lineup that you want. How you doing? Are you going? But here we go, man. This the finished product, man. Boxy, straight, nice lineup. Everything that you would want. This is all natural, by the way. All natural haircut. Look at that. Beautiful, nice haircut, man. If you love this video, this tutorial, man, give me a subscribe and a like, and thank you.